But it didn't end there. Sports Minister Mahama Yarga has also said that Ghanaian journalists are asking useless questions regarding the budget used by the government and the sports ministry in taking part in the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations. Now let's digest issues around the AFCON budget now. With me in the studio is Opariado. He's a sports analyst. Thank you very much, Opari, for joining us here. Yeah, what do you think about the statement from the sports minister?
Well, to be very honest, I think it is rather unfortunate for this to come from a statesman. We least expected this from him because if we also feel like the punch is thrown to us, if we want to retaliate, right, it might not go well. So I will simply say it is rather unfortunate, it is uncalled for, he should have known better and he shouldn't have gone that lane because we know our sports. If he knows his politics, we also know our sports. So,
but have we been asking the right questions about the budget?
Yes. We've asked the exact questions that we need to know. There has always been a trend. So we are simply following the trend, but then he is trying to prevent us from doing our work. You cannot teach me how to go through my daily activities as a sports journalist. If you believe that you are the minister, you know better, we simply have to follow the rules. It says that before you go to any tournament, you need to present the FA will prepare a budget, it will be brought to you, it will be scrutinized. Before it needs to go to Parliament, then it will be endorsed before the funds will be released. That has been the norm, and we have to follow that. It's as simple as that. So if we ask such questions, it means that we are demanding legitimate answers for not going through the same positive procedures that we have known. So for him to think otherwise, it is rather unfortunate that he has to revise his note for the betterment of our sports.
Let's go on to some of the responses we have received from the questions we have asked about the budget. How do you view them?
Yes, I think that to ask that we needed to know the budget that we sent to Equatorial Guinea was perfectly right. It was a legitimate question because
did we get a response to it? Did we get the appropriate answers to our questions?
No, we've not had any appropriate appropriate answer to any of our questions that we have asked. Don't forget that before the tournament we did ask the question, several questions. Where was the budget? How much were we taking to Equatorial Guinea? How much is each player going to earn? But we were not provided with such legitimate answers. It got to a time that the minister and the ministry came out to tell us all that yes, because we of what happened in Brazil, we weren't going to pay that huge sums of money to the players any longer. They decided that we settle on 5,000. Then the whole nation accepted it because we felt that we had other priorities that we could channel our money through. But eventually, they got to Equatorial Guinea, everything changed.
We were surprised.
We were surprised. We were not given any explanation. Up to now, we do not know which company or which individuals supported that extra $15,000. We do not know. These are legitimate questions.
Well, he says that he would present his response to the Accountant General's Department, and the reports can now to the Auditor General, and then they can in turn give us the report on it. Does that answer suffice for you?
No, it doesn't hold water, right? I would want to appeal to Ayariga. I would want to put in a simple scenario in here that how would he feel if the little daughter walks up to him that, look, Dad, I am going back to school. I need 1,000 cedis to go to school. You do not ask questions. You give the 1,000 cedis to your daughter to go to school and tell your daughter that when you, after vacation, come and account how you spent that money. Is that how he will want to handle his own family? No. You need to tell us that, look, because of this condition or because of condition A, B, and C, we do not have much to give. And we are prepared to give this amount. We all support it because so that there wouldn't be problems after. If not, you are giving room for us to chastise you that, yes, some monies might have gone somewhere that is unnecessary. Because if you present a budget to Parliament, which he did yesterday, that some money was paid to the players, the technical team, the management committee, and other officials. Who are the other officials? If we had known prior to the tournament, we would have told you that, look, these other officials are not needed. We could have saved money to do a lot of good things for our state. We all know the electricity condition we find ourselves now. Can't we save money? We went to Brazil, we paid $100,000 to the players. We cried over it so much. Yet again, we are paying close to the same 100,000. Does it really make sense? It doesn't.
We'll come to what we expect of the sports ministry, considering that a number of people seem to view the presentation in Parliament as a very frivolous excuse for as an explanation for the use of the funds we got. So we'll come back to you in a bit. But Linda Kwafo from the Ghana Integrity Initiative has joined our conversation. Linda Ofori Kwafo, that is. Thank you very much, Linda, for your time here.
Thank you and good morning to you all.
Linda, the conversation around the AFCON budget and the fact that very little information is given. For you as Executive Director for Anti-Corruption Coalition here in Ghana, what comes to mind when all of these things pop up?
Thank you for the question. Actually, I have to say what comes to mind, if I should answer your question this way, is the fact that continuously we are not doing well as a country when it comes to dealing with matters of finances and how it is used. Especially, we are not learning from the mistakes of the past. It happened the same way when we were going for the World Cup in Brazil. We went to Brazil, we asked for budget, we didn't get a budget. We came back and then we had a whole lot of issues about procurement, to the extent that a commission or committee had to be set up, a fact-finding one, they called it, to investigate into these matters and then come up with a report and all that. It happens all the time. When the Minister for Sport was asked the question, even when he was in Equatorial Guinea, I heard him on radio saying, I am at this place, it's not the time for me to talk about the budget when we come back, and comes back. Always giving us the post-mortem budget, spending the money and coming to tell us the figures. Is that the way we have to go in the spirit of transparency and accountability? I think we are not doing well as a country, and it's about time we hold our public officials very responsible for the very things they themselves have promised the nation of and promoting as far as their governance is concerned. We need to know as citizens where the resources are being mobilized for. We need to know who is approving those monies. We need to come back and then account to us.
Linda, his point is he doesn't have to explain himself to the media. He would explain himself to the appropriate authorities. Besides, the media is asking useless questions anyway.
No. He doesn't. He can't say that. When we're talking about accountability in democracy, it is bottom up and top down. He has the responsibility to explain to us as Ghanaians how to mobilize the resources, how it's going to be spent, who is approving what before the league. When you talk about JNPC putting money into all the JNPC, it's not a private organization, it's not for an individual. The minister was asked yesterday in one of the radio stations, and I heard him once again saying that he doesn't even know how supporters were elected to the place. He has said it once, twice. And I think it is not good enough for us to be getting such feedback. If he doesn't know, how will an ordinary person on the street get to know?
Indeed.
He should know, and he should be able to give us some explanations to that effect. We are not holding quick in our hands to whip anybody, but then we just want us to promote transparency and accountability. That is the only thing that will move our democracy forward. Otherwise,
very well. Lynn, I'm going to have you hold the line. I'm going to have you hold the line briefly. Just before you joined us, Oparia was sharing his thoughts with us here in the studio. He's a sports analyst. Oparia, again, I'm going to start from where Linda left off, where Ayariga keeps explaining that he would only explain what the sports ministry has done, and that whatever GMPC has done, he can't explain or he can't tell whether some GMPC paid for airlifting or not. Does it make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense, my sister. The minister is simply running away from his responsibilities. It's as simple as that. He has to be told that he has to be firm. He has to be accountable to us. You understand? Because you are put in there as a minister to ensure that whatever that we need, as people of as Ghanaians. We are told the rightful thing.
Is it possible that GMPC could do something without the sports ministry not knowing? Because that's the explanation he's been giving us.
It is not possible. It is never possible for the minister to tell us that, look, this came from GMPC and it is without the knowledge of the sports ministry. It is not possible. You understand? Anything that GMPC does, GMPC goes through the sports ministry before the sports ministry gets to the technical committee of the Black Stars, before it is done. You cannot jump the ministry and jump the minister himself and go straight to the players or to the Black Star Management Committee. It is not done. And I know he's simply not ready to tell us the truth. He's running away from it. It's as simple as that. Look, we should not run away from the fact that if the minister comes to tell us the truth, he will be asked questions. If you don't tell us the truth, you'll be asked questions just because we want to know the exact truth. How come you tell us that, look, the extra 15,000 that was given to the Black Star players came from somebody? You don't know that individual? GMPC says they did not cough up that money. Government says they did not bring that money. So where did we get it from? He has to be responsible to us. He has to answer such questions. It isn't Parliament alone that you have to be pulled in there to be forced to answer such questions. You need to tell us as people of Ghanaians, then we get to know that whether you are doing the rightful things or you are doing the wrong, you are going the wrong way. He has to be responsible.
But for a lot of people, they find the response from the minister very strange, including yourself. Very strange that he's doing that. Why would the sports ministry want to toe a different line this time?
It is very simple. It tells us all that there's something there that they probably want to hide away from us. If not, you need to be transparent in all of your dealings. And that has been one of the biggest problems at the sports ministry. Between 2001 up to date, we've changed about 14 ministers. 14 good ministers at the sports ministry. It should tell us that there's a big problem in there. Any minister comes in, he or she tells us that tomorrow we are going to do this, the next day we are going to do this. We don't see it happening. When Ayaraga took office, he told us that, look, there's some 1 million sitting somewhere that they were going to use to renovate the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex. They told us once again that they were going to build a stadium at Cape Coast. But yet still, we haven't seen anything going on. If you go asking questions, we have to. It is a legitimate question because we need to know. The Black Stars do not have a place that they call their own, that we call a national training pitch. We do not have that. So you can't simply throw money about. If players are owed, doesn't mean that, look, my sister, next month, the under-20s will go for the African Youth Championship in Senegal. Will the minister tell us that we don't need to know the budget for the under-20 and that they have to return from Senegal before we get to know? These are players that need motivation. And the minister said it himself when he was in Equatorial Guinea, that he realized that some countries paid about $100,000 for their players to be motivated to beat the Black Stars. Then it means that he's indirectly telling us that the money serves as a motivation. So we are giving them small. So let us know where that small is coming from and why you think that is small. And if you think that is small, right, let us look at our financial condition now as a state. Do we have that much to give up to $85,000 to each player? You understand? He compared what he's done this period to between 2001 to 2008, that his has been a big reduction. But his deputy minister tells us that anyone who says there's been a reduction in the budget doesn't know what he's talking about. His own deputy minister said it. So what are we talking about? And he also tells us that, look, there's been a reduction.
But a lot of times we hear of this and wanting to know budgets used for sports activities here in the country. At the end of the day, nothing happens. I mean, it makes this a wild goose chase, because then at the end of the day, he can choose to give or not to give. And that's why I'll let you comment on that. But that's why I want Linda, I want you to come in at this point. What can we do? Because it happens all the time. We want to know what happened at the World Cup. We want to know what happened with AFCON. We want to know what happened with smaller tournaments. And then that's it. We never hear of anything. It's like the sports ministry, the GFA are too autonomous for us to ask for accountability, demand accountability from them.
I think what we need to do as citizens of this country is to push for these budgets to be made known to us before any tournament happens or takes place. We should be tired of the post-mortem budget. We should be demanding for them before they leave town and before they go to spend those money.
But Linda, even that, Opari, they are not doing.
We were going to issue a statement, and until he called us, until we had been given the figures yesterday, we have prepared a statement, and I'm sure we will still find ways and means of putting it out. So that going forward, the next time, we will lead the crusade to stop it from happening.
Linda, my point is, point is, we have decided as a country that we were going to make whatever budget it is known even before the tournament started. It turned out that it didn't happen that way. And so it's like for us as a people, we can't demand accountability for any sports activities we fund.
I'm saying that the fact that we've not been able to do this successfully in the past doesn't mean that we don't have the opportunity to do it again. There is going to be other opportunities coming going forward. And I think that time we should be able to coordinate our efforts to demand for such transparency, openness, and accountability before the tournament starts. And when it comes to who has the responsibility to tell us how much money was mobilized and how much money was spent, I believe it is the minister. He won't go to GMPC to tell us, we won't go anywhere. He should be able to make us know what really happened. And I think if he continues to do that, then he's hiding something from us, and we need to demand for. Let me tell you something. I followed all the discussions. Anytime he was asked the issue about the budget, his answer was not satisfactory enough. And I think people, Ghanaians, have come to the stage where they won't take that kind of responses from people that we have put in place to manage our ministries for us. And I think going forward, we will make sure that we demand for the budget, we demand for the expenditure line items before anybody embarks on any trip or organizes a tournament. It is becoming too unbecoming of the ministry, and I think it's about time we rise up against it.
Very well. Thank you very much, Linda. Linda Ofori-Kwafo is Executive Director for the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition. Opari Ado is a sports analyst, is still here with me. Opari, that is what Linda thinks could make, could reverse the situation here in the country. From where you said, do you think it's going to happen? Because I feel helpless when it comes to accountability on sports activities.
Yes, the reason is very simple, right? They do not want to always disclose what happens, the budget to us before the tournament, because like it has been said, and it will continue to be said that, look, the Black Stars has virtually become a money-milking machine. You make a lot of money, then it goes somewhere else. That is why they are refusing to tell us what we have demanded for. If you don't have anything to hide, you tell us you're going to pay the players ABC. It's as simple as that. If we accept it, it means that the state has accepted it. You don't go hide somewhere, conjure some magic, come up with some 1 cedi or 2 cedis that this is what you think that it is appropriate to give to the players. Why then is it that when it got to the time that we needed to reduce that money to 5,000, he appealed to the state? But when it got to the time that they felt that it was important to up the money to 15,000, to 30,000, nobody was consulted. You do that, you give room for suspicion that you're doing something that is fictitious, that you're doing something that people will begin to ask questions because you are not coming clean.
Is there a way we can deal with this? Because obviously, the Ghanaian people are being taken for granted.
Yes. Yes, I think we have been taken for granted, and we don't have to allow this to happen again. This should be the last time that this will happen.
We said that with the Brazil 2014 tournament.
It means that we are not learning. It means that we are not learning. And if we are not learning in 2015, when again would we be able to learn? You understand? If you don't learn now to correct your mistakes for a better future, and we tell ourselves that, look, this is the procedure, we do not want to follow this procedure. We want to go by our own individual procedures that we think it is right. No, it is not about running your personal home. This is about running something that belongs to the people of Ghana. You understand? So it means that what we want, what we think is the rightful way, that is the way as a state we have to go. If we believe that we need to know the budget, it doesn't change anything. If you had told us that, look, we're going to spend about $10 million or $20 million to get to Brazil or to get to Equatorial Guinea, we will speak so much about it, we will express our concern. But if government comes out to tell us that, look, we have 20 million to give to our players, we'll sit back. But don't come back to us that, look, the 20 million even wasn't enough. We need more. Then it means that you didn't do any due diligence somewhere. And we have to hold you responsible. You have to be accountable to
Very
us.
well, Opari, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much for passing through the program. Opari Ado is a sports analyst. We've been discussing the budgets of the Africa Cup of Nations and the issues beyond that, including the sports ministry declining to share detail of this budget with the media. There's more to come here. We'll talk about famed broadcaster Kwesi Dakwa, who goes back to court today. We're expecting him to present his medical report today. You recall, at the last hearing, he was unavailable, which angered the presiding judge, and therefore he was ordered to present his medical report at the next hearing, which is today. So don't go away. I'll bring you details of that in a bit.